All right, everybody. Aloha. How's it going out there? Doc Severson and Mav here with Ready Set Crypto, doing our Ready Set live session on Wednesday, the 14th of April. Welcome aboard, everybody.
Hello, hello. How's everyone doing? Where are you guys coming in from? As usual, we like to kick things off nice and slow, and then as people get on here, have a little bit of a party. But until then, let us know where you're coming in from, how you're doing. And if you could hit that like button, really appreciate it. Get some people in here, help us beat the YouTube algorithm. You know, it's a party.
Beat the algo, beat the algo. Mm-hmm. All right. We have Vaude from Greenville. We have Andy from Manch. Are you City or United? We got to know. We got to know. Welcome aboard, folks. Let us know where you're coming in from.
Crazy day in the markets, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, boy. You've been waiting to use that one, huh?
All right. Yeah, Andy, we actually went to the stadium in Manchester. Went to your United Stadium. That was kind of cool. Didn't get the full tour, got at least into the gift shop. All right, so we have DJ from Sydney, Australia. We got Momo from Colorado. Welcome aboard. Welcome, everybody. We'll get started here in just a minute, getting everybody rounded up like getting puppies into a box, right?
I'm just trying to imagine that. It's it's not a bad thing, right?
Yeah. Yeah, a lot going on. And all right, cool. We got North Korea. Don't get us in trouble now. Don't get us in trouble. All right. Hey, Richard, welcome aboard. Surfing Doge since yesterday. All right. So Vaude, you got on the Doge train, huh? Hey, Richard in UK. That's cool. Long Beach, California. God, I love Long Beach. It's such a cool place.
This is very cool.
Nando from Holland. Say hi to the Queen Mary while you're out there. Hey, Rajeeth. All right. All right. Well, let's get a couple more folks in, and then we'll get going with our regularly scheduled program here. So the way if you're new to this channel, we're just we've been doing this now for, God, what is this, coming up on 3.5 years? So we've been running Ready Set Crypto for about 3.5 years. So I don't know if that makes us the one of the OGs, but we've been doing this for a while. We've seen a lot of swells and tides in the market. We've been through a lot together, and so we like to look at things from a very kind of standoffish point of view. We don't get all that tribalistic about any specific coin. The price will tell you whether the market thinks of it in a positive light or not. Although Mav will kind of, dive deep into some of the coins and show you something you might want to think about. So if there are any coins that you want me to specifically look at from a technical point of view, we'll get to that part of the show in just a minute. All right, let's see who else we got going here. We have Brian from Buffalo, New York. We have Matter from BC, Canada. Dan from the UK. We have South Africa. We also have CMAC from Colorado. Welcome aboard.
Nice.
Enjoy that World Series or the All-Star game. All-Star game. Man, I'm about to step in it here. All right. So, Mav, why don't you save me here before I get into trouble?
All righty. All right. So, for those who have maybe been under a rock for the last couple of days, the big news today was, of course, the Coinbase IPO. And, of course, IPO is a little bit not exactly correct because it was a direct listing. It was not an IPO, but they are now officially on the NASDAQ under the ticker COIN. And of course, they started out today in the 400s and immediately tanked into the 300s. But I think what is going to be the implications of that and what we should be paying attention to, especially as speculative, risk-on investors that are looking for edge and opportunity in these shifting markets where things are, every week seems like something new is going on. I think we should be paying attention to the trends that are going on right now and what today's Coinbase, I'll keep calling it an IPO just because that's what people keep calling it. What that means for the larger space, especially when we talk about, overall crypto markets, the overall financial markets, the stock market, et cetera. So should be kind of a short session today because, you've probably been beaten to death with news about this stuff. So what we're really going to go into today is kind of what you should be doing now that we're past it and where I think opportunity is beyond just the Coinbase IPO. Because again, it's a big deal. This is one of the most major exchanges out there representing crypto, and for it to be listed on the stock market, the public equities, it is out there for the world to speculate on and, do price action on and say, this is what, one of the biggest exchanges of crypto has a value. This is what we believe, crypto as a whole is kind of representative of what Coinbase is doing. I think it's just it's an exciting time. I think this is a footnote in terms of our ability to, we'll look back on this and kind of look at it in the same way we looked at the last halving or, backed or things like that. This is a major milestone for the industry. So anyways, moving along here, I'm going to switch over to the screen sharing portion of our stream here. And for those who want to follow along, I have the link to this spreadsheet down in the bio below. It is with the little finger pointing to it. So, you can follow along with me. It's free to access and, engage with, especially if you're viewing from a small screen. So I will zoom in a little bit here. But actually today, if you've been, a frequent watcher of these streams over the past couple of weeks, first off, thank you. But secondly, you probably will not be too surprised with the ones I have on here because I didn't want to do anything too, let's say, crazy today. I wanted to talk more about some of the different avenues that I'm seeing opportunity in when we think about like what is an alternative to Coinbase right now? What is going to take the torch from Coinbase now that Coinbase has gone public? They're sort of out there in the mainstream. What is the next big thing as it relates to exchanges, crypto trading? What is the direction of things? So the first big, I guess, direction I see things going is definitely in the terms of DeFi, but more specifically in terms of like decentralized exchanges or DEXs growing up with Ethereum 2.0 launching and some of the other Ethereum competitors coming to market. It really will become the case very soon here that decentralized exchanges have all of the benefits of, centralized exchanges, but then more so, there's going to be better security, better privacy, better, liquidity and other things that are just kind of afforded from all these different, Lego blocks that are being built right now in the DeFi space. As we often talk about, DeFi is a very collaborative, the sum of many parts space. So to see that represented in the exchanges that are being built, especially the decentralized ones, and the different directions they're going in, I think that is a very opportune area. So places like PancakeSwap, places like 1inch, places like Goose Finance, we've talked about these as being really good alternatives to even just Uniswap, and to a larger degree, things like Binance and these other centralized exchanges I'm sure we're all familiar with. So these are really where the opportunity is these days, as far as I'm concerned. If you're looking for those highly speculative moonshot type crypto projects, there's sort of underground stuff that is going to allow you to get in on the ground floor and see, maybe your money doesn't go, it doesn't do anything. It goes to zero, but there's a small chance that it will go to the moon. It will become a 10x or 20x or 50x bagger. And then you have, ridden the wave as to the next thing. And you're going to find those sorts of projects on places like Uniswap and PancakeSwap and some of these other, DeFi aggregator kind of exchanges that are coming around. So that's one area that I see that there's just a massive amount of capital and just thought leadership going on right now. And it's very exciting. Lots of cool ideas. The other area that I'm seeing some really good ideas come about is in terms of like crypto interests. So places like Celsius, places like Voyager, places like BlockFi, places like Swissborg, if you're in the EU. These are all places where you can get massive high yield interest rates on things like BTC or Ethereum or USDT or USDC. You're able to get 5, 6, 7% returns on interest for these. We know that these are going to do well. Something like Bitcoin has asymmetric risk in terms of like, I don't think we're ever going to see a $5,000 Bitcoin ever again. It's only going to continue to go up as the supply becomes more and more limited and the demand keeps to growing. So we're going to be just watching Bitcoin grow and grow and grow. And if you're able to make compounding returns on that, compounding interest returns on that, you're just getting, you're double dipping there. Isn't that great? So those sorts of, platforms where you can kind of stake out or lend out your crypto assets and get interest as a result. I think it's great. I think there's, it's the new form of banking. It's the new savings account, if you will. And I think what has really struck me is that maybe older generations, that was in the form of something like real estate, right? That was where they accrued a lot of their wealth over, the span of decades. For the millennials and Gen Zs out there that are listening, I think that's in the form of crypto assets. They have really become the new real estate where people are going to continually put more and more of their wealth into these, highly speculative, but also highly appreciating assets that are just going to grow over time. And we're going to see financial products that help bolster that sort of mission, that sort of, direction of things. So very interesting to see that. And for those who are on Celsius, just be very careful. They, I think, got hacked or something today because they sent out a really sketchy email today that they later clarified was not from them, but it was definitely a phishing email. So do not open that. Do not click through on that. Do not send any money to that. Be very careful with that kind of stuff because, they're looking to steal your probably Ethereum or whatever they're asking for on that. So, anyways, moving along, something else that we've talked about recently, go back to last week's stream, is launchpads, where we're seeing sort of the iteration of ICOs, lots of really cool ideas being able to be crowdsourced and pooled in terms of the resources to get them kicked off and the sort of funding that they need to get off the ground, and to do it in a way that's a lot more transparent and a lot more open and just honest. I think is great. So places like Polkastarter, places like Mantra DAO and Bounce, I think are really cool. We're also seeing places like like Bounce is one that does NFT specifically. So just really cool ideas here. Lots of really good directions that the industry is going in terms of its ability to kind of branch out from, what has essentially been a centralized exchange market. Most of the trading, most of the volume has been concentrated on these centralized exchanges. And now I think it's the time of the decentralized exchanges and DeFi and launchpads and some of these other crazy different directions that the industry is going. I think these are big opportunities for us to get in front of and to just study. So another thing I think is really important for us to kind of look at is if we were to look at, centralized exchanges, and this is including those that are equity. So, the Hong Kong Exchanges and Clearing, the CME Group, the Intercontinental Exchange. We were to compare those centralized exchanges that are trading equities versus the centralized exchanges and decentralized exchanges of crypto, Coinbase, Uniswap, Aave, PancakeSwap. We can start to see that these are starting to breach, if not exceed, the market cap of these historical bastions of finance and trading and all this stuff. And for Coinbase to be above just about any of these is, I will agree, is very overvalued. Maybe it needs to pull back a little bit. But at the same time, I think it's a clear indication of where things are going, where we need to have our eyeballs absolutely laser focused on, because I'm going to tell you that these alternatives to Coinbase, the Aaves, the PancakeSwaps, the compounds, the synthetics, all are doing different things. All are doing very interesting, very, like just massive, big directions that things are going in. If we were to look at DeFi overall, for example, right now it's exceeding over $200 million in revenue every month. And if we looked at Coinbase for the first quarter of this year, they had a revenue figure of 1.8 billion. These are just massive numbers, and it's kind of hard for us to comprehend what that means. But I think it's a clear showing of this direction that things are going in, where we need to be paying attention to, and to me is the clear direction of the next 10 years at least. So the last thing I want to point out before we turn it over and talk a little bit more about the markets is to look at some of the categories and where we can break this down into, the sort of buckets that these projects fall in. So you can do some of your own research into this. I would highly recommend going to CoinGecko and going to markets and then over to categories. And here you'll get a nice list of all these different categories that you can look at cryptos by. You can look at the different ways that these crypto projects are being expressed. And, we can see here are all the centralized exchange tokens, which are doing really well right now. We can look at the decentralized exchange tokens, which are also doing pretty well right now. Things like automated market makers, things like NFTs, things like asset-backed tokens. These are all kind of different iterations of exchange-based tokens, or in some way relate to the exchanging of value. And I think that's going to be a big trend we're going to see for the rest of this year is more crypto companies going public, more focus on crypto as a financial institution sector. These big categories are going to come to define themselves. They're going to be competitive with their legacy financial system counterparts. Those projects that are doing a lending, for example, are going to start really eating away market share from the banks, for example. You can't tell me that someone who is putting aside some money every month isn't interested in the idea that they could be earning 8, 9, 10% interest versus the bank, which is only offering a fraction of 1%. I think that is going to definitely become one of these trends we're going to watch. More and more people start to make the transition, cross the bridge over from CeFi to DeFi. And it's going to be that centralized finance to decentralized finance, for those that don't know the jargon. It's definitely going to become more and more of a trend that we're going to continue to watch. So again, today is a big day. It's a big, important day for us, not just for Coinbase, but for the overall industry and the sort of direction things are going in. Things are becoming more institutionalized. Things are becoming more regulated. Things are becoming more mainstream. And these are all very good things. Crypto is not anti-capitalist. It's not here to tell people what can and cannot be done with crypto. We're not here to say banks can't come in and be a part of crypto or start to integrate with crypto or compete with crypto. We're here to ensure that people have the freedom of value, that they can be self-sovereign, that they can be their own banks. And that way it's anti-corruption. It's overreaching policy. That's what crypto stands for. So I just think it's so important for us to look at today and see, yes, we've made this transition to one of the institutions that historically has been dominated by the legacy financial system. And now we're seeing representation from crypto, from decentralization right there for people to speculate and trade on. I think it's a big deal. And we'll definitely be watching this play out for the next couple weeks and months. It's going to be fun times. So anyways, let's take a quick break here. Thanks for all who are watching. And if you could hit that like button, would really appreciate it. Let's get some more people in here. Let's close this one out really well. But yeah, to turn it over to Doc, let's talk about the markets and what's going on from that perspective. What
all right,
on the charts.
Nice job, Mav. Excellent job. A lot of good ideas. A lot of good ideas there for folks that are out there to look at. I mean, if you didn't catch them all the first time around, I would rewind this video and watch it again, or watch it in double speed, whatever you got to do. Because there's a lot of great ideas in there.
Link is down below, by the way. And look for the finger. That should you can follow along with that as well.
Look for the finger. Always look for the finger. All right, so let's. I'm going to check it out here on some charts. Let's see if we can get. Oh, there we go. Okay, so first of all, Bitcoin versus the U.S. dollar. And this is the concern that I had yesterday is we got a nice break above 60,000, but it went nowhere because there's no volume. So volume confirms the move. If you don't have volume, you're not going to roll anybody over. You're not going to move the price. So right now, what I see is that we're just running within this kind of ascending wedge pattern. Ascending wedge patterns are ultimately a little bit bearish down the road. Usually what they do is they will break out the upper trend line, and then we might come back down to this longer term trend line, and that's where the launch would happen from. So don't be surprised if you see a little bit of hijinks coming out of here in the near term, like perhaps the next 2 months or so for something like that. Ultimately, the price action is fine, but we might have to revisit this yellow trend line for the monthly chart, which has gotten way ahead of itself right now. Same thing with Ethereum. Ethereum, what I'm looking at is a great big, in fact, I have to go out to a weekly chart on this one to show it, but this is just a great big cup with handle pattern. Great big basing pattern. You can barely see the very bottom of this just because of this. And normally what you're doing here is you're looking at the upside projection of this as being the distance from the bottom of the pattern up to the neckline. And then you can just extrapolate that up to the upside, which gives us about 27 to 2,800 for Ethereum on this first run. We're almost there. We're almost getting there, up another 3.6% today. This has been a great week for Ethereum and is something that Mav got me into, geez, almost 4 years ago. Been a long time. So great break on this one. Chainlink has been super good today. And one thing I want to call your attention to is that you're going to see this pattern over and over again in these coins. It's the same kind of cup with handle pattern, and you can take the same extrapolation of this to the upside. So watch for that in terms of a target. If you're more of a trader, if you want to just look at short-term targets, you can sell into strength. Or if you're a longer-term trader, you can just, that gives you confidence to hold through the next consolidation. Really, the story today has been, by far, has been Dogecoin. Dogecoin has come out of this great break, and you can already see that in about 2 days, this has already met its target to the upside. So if we extrapolate that to the upside, what I want to see from Doge at this point now is what I call a high and tight consolidation. This is where the price just kind of consolidates in this area, builds up the energy again, fills up the tank, and gets ready for the second move. A bull flag like that typically operates as a halfway house in the middle of a big swing. So Doge has been great. What I'm going to do is go back over to the chat room here, and let's see. Oh, by the way, yeah, I need to cover this as well. If we go to Coinbase, you can see that Coinbase just got listed today. That's the daily candle. That's not going to give you much. However, if we go out to something like a 5-minute chart, we can see that this is the problem with all of this. So Coinbase taking off to the upside initially, just like everybody else chasing after this thing, right? And then it gets just skunked to the downside. So it goes from about 430 all the way down to 310 on its first day. So this is, again, why you never, ever chase an IPO. You know, this is why we've been onto SPACs for a long time, because SPACs give you the chance to get onto a new opportunity in the equity market through the special purpose acquisition company. So even a direct listing like this has got its friends and family round that is being sold into on day one, people taking profits and providing, selling into strength on stuff like that. Once again, retail gets screwed. So let's take a look at some of the ones that you guys are bringing up. So some people are talking about Frontier. Let's see, Frontier versus, I'll just do this versus the US dollar for right now. Let's go to a daily chart. Whoa, let's reset this thing. Okay, so this is an artifact on day one, which is a little bit of a problem. So what we have to do is kind of get rid of that. So Frontier versus the US dollar is just, there's no pattern here. If anything, this is just a very choppy trend. So right now it's just oscillating between $2 to $4. So it's just range bound. It's got no leadership. So I'm not sure what you're looking for on Frontier, but right now versus US dollar, not a lot of leadership. Okay, let's see. Roger is asking for ORN. We'll take a look at ORN. And we'll do that. Again, if I can, I'm going to do these versus the US dollar just because it's going to give a cleaner chart. But right now, this is what we would call a weekly pullback. So if we pull this out to a weekly chart, we can see that this has been in a nice run. This is a weekly pullback, and we can even throw the fibs on this guy to take a look at the retracement from the bottom up to the top here. And this is your classic 50% retracement on a larger time frame. So notice also that the weekly chart exhausted. This is where a lot of people say, oh my God, it's a bear market, but it's not. This is just a larger time frame pullback, larger time frame pullback. So watch for this one to exceed $20 if you're trading it versus the US dollar. Needs to exceed 20 to reclaim the trend again on the daily chart. Oh, XRP. Yeah, let's go to XRP. I have to eat a little bit of shoe leather about trashing XRP for the last 3 years, but it's earned it. And so actually what we have seen recently from XRP has been an inverted head and shoulders pattern with more than exceeding the upside target of this. So getting up near $2, what I want to see from XRP at this point is no further gains. I want to see this thing consolidate. I want to see if it can handle consolidation just like a big boy coin. So this is where it needs to just like set up a high and tight pattern up here, maybe between like $1.50 and $2 versus the USD, and consolidate and build up the energy again for the next run. I like to see coins that don't just keep on. If they go too far, this is where we get to your typical altcoin where it goes up and everybody sees it and then they pound the crap out of it back down again, and it doesn't do anybody any good. What I want to see is a coin that can actually consolidate in an area and get set up for the next run. That's useful because then people can trade that. Let's see, Uniswap. I'm just sort of going across the board here. So we can look at Uniswap versus BTC, which is a big sideways pattern. And man, this is your classic definition of cup with handle. So cup with handle right there. So this is going to have to break 65,000 sats. Or if we look at Uniswap versus the US dollar, let's see. That's on Kraken. This one is a slightly better pattern. And what I'm seeing here is just, this is a larger time frame consolidation as well too. This one needs to set up the handle pattern here and then break above 36. So that all looks good. There's nothing wrong with the trend here. It's just temporarily exhausted. Let's see, a couple more. I'll just do like 2 or 3 more and then I'll flip it back for final thoughts here. So digibyte. Let's look at digibyte. We haven't looked at digibyte for a while. Digibyte versus the US dollar. Okay, this one looks like actually pretty good. Man, this thing is only still 10 cents. So again, this is a grinder. This is one of these trends that just kind of grinds higher. And this is where we have to look at larger time frames to say, okay, a lot of energy still at the weekly chart. We can go out to the monthly chart. Look at this as well too. And that's just around exhaustion, but I'm not going to worry about that right now. This actually looks pretty good. And I like the move above 10 cents today. Everything is fairly strong except for the coins that have already gone too far, too fast. All right, just a couple more. Let's see. Dash. All right, let's see. I haven't looked at Dash in a long time. Dash versus USD. Okay, again, cup pattern. We're seeing this everywhere, guys. Get used to this cup pattern here. What you want to do is to have it set up, and it doesn't do this every time. But the ideal pattern is it gets up to the neckline and then it consolidates in a very high and tight fashion and then breaks out on big volume. Look for the volume for this to break out. No volume, no breakout. No bueno. Okay, last coin, let's see. Let's see, we haven't looked at Icon for a while. So let's look at ICEX. ICEX versus the US dollar. What is this one doing? Ooh, this is a nice looking one. Okay. Blast from the past here, Icon. So this is operating very nicely. This is a large symmetrical triangle breaking out into more of a flag pattern, but I like this. this is what you want to see. You want to look for coins that do this kind of thing, this stair stepping, because they're like everything else. Think about this. If you were to run up the side of a mountain, there's only so far you could go before you got to stop and catch your breath, maybe drink some water, do whatever. And then you're going to go again. And then you're going to go as far as you can before you catch your breath. So this is how things move in nature. And this is how sustainable moves occur in financial markets as well, too. Range expansion leads to range contraction. Expansion leads to contraction. So I like the way that this one is moving now. A break above 280 would be a resumption of the trend to the upside. All right, so let's throw this back here. I'm going to throw it back to Mav and myself for some final thoughts. Any last questions anybody wants to throw over the wall for today?
It's definitely like, I think it's an opportune time. Again, April is definitely historically very bullish for Bitcoin and the overall crypto market. And yeah, I think it's accumulation season. So whatever is speaking to you from an investing perspective, I think there's going to be multiple different directions that the industry goes that are going to be, doing really well pretty soon here. But again, we're also still on a little bit of thin ice. Things can turn around very quickly here. So just be careful with what you're doing. Make sure you're, diversifying appropriately in risk on and risk off. But, this is crypto, so things can move very fast. But I think we're in a very good spot right now with the way things are heading, especially with today's news of the Coinbase IPO. I think it's just a really good time for crypto to start making moves higher. We're obviously most of the way to Bitcoin going to 100K. So yeah, there's a lot to like right now.
Wow, somebody just brought up XDC. What an amazing chart. That is beautiful. That is a stair-stepping chart that is under heavy accumulation and the volume's not bad. Really nice. Sparta. I've been waiting for somebody to ask for Sparta. All right, let's see. Not a whole lot of ways to trade that one. Sparta versus BNB. It doesn't look very good, but that's because BNB has been a monster. So Binance Coin's been a monster. So if you're trading against Binance Coin, good luck, because that alone, that thing has just exploded.
All right. Well, I think we should probably close it out for today. But guys, we really appreciate you hanging out with us. And yeah, I think things are moving really well right now. I think there's a lot to like. So as always, thanks so much for hanging out with us. We'll do this again next week, same time, same place. Hope to see you there. But as always, appreciate your time. Hope you're doing well. And yeah, stay safe out there.
Yeah, thanks everybody. You guys take care, and we will see you next week. And if is there any questions, you can always throw them into the comment section below. Watch out for the scammers that are impersonating Ready Set Crypto, because they will put what address did they put on there, Mav?
Oh, I don't even know. But look, we like you guys, but we're not sending anyone Ethereum or anything like that.
Yeah, we're not requesting anything, so we're not going to contact you directly in the link below. So watch out for the scammers if you guys do post in there. But we'd love to hear from you if you guys want to do that. Everybody, take care. You guys be good.
Cheers, guys. Thanks.